extremely excited about the showcase competition that we have today. We have 5 phenomenal companies that are going to present their business ideas. And if you didn't have a chance to walk around the expo hall, you definitely missed out because we had some phenomenal companies there. It was extremely hard for all of our judges to pick a top 5, and we are very excited about the 5 that we have presenting today. Before we get started, I just wanted to introduce our panel of judges real quick. So we have John Adams, Tim Barney, Beth Closimo, Ellie Dalton, Scott Davis, Teresa Foxley, Terry Grant, Roger McGomber, and Brad Tribish. And they will be the ones judging our presenters today. And judges, at the end of each presentation, is Kyle in here? Right here. Kyle will come by and grab each of your papers. It's going to be a kind of a quick turnover. So you have during the presentation and during Q&A to finish that off. Don't worry about doing the bottom score. We'll just take all of your individual scores. You don't need to tally them all up for us. So during the presentation, I'll be giving each contestant a 1-minute verbal warning via the microphone. And they all have exactly 5 minutes. We'll cut them off at exactly 5 minutes, and then the judges will have 5 minutes to ask any questions that they have and get their answers, cut them off after 5 minutes, and we'll just go through all 5 of them. But without further ado, allow us to introduce our top 5 competitors this year.
I'm Garland Maxwell, an inventor of unique asphalt paving equipment. This is my son, Bennett. We're here today to find financing for a machine that will recycle asphalt. It heats down, scrapes through the old asphalt, adds new rock and oil, mixes all that together, and relays it all in one machine. Sounds incredible. It actually is a pretty nice machine, but it's not that complex, and I'll explain that later. This is me in a backhoe in 1993. My father and I invented this machine. It's called the asphalt zipper. We could do recycling. It recycled pavement into gravel, not into asphalt, but into gravel. And we could do that for about 1/3 the cost of other equipment. Sales were pretty easy because the most efficient equipment wins the bid. This is the patent that I wrote, every single word. It held for 17 years, which is the full life of a patent. We had virtually no competition during that full 17 years. Asphalt Zipper Company, we sold out of it, but they've sold $100 million worth of equipment, or a little bit more. We received the NOVA Award in 2004. They give that to 4 inventors internationally. My father and I picked that up in 2005. We were the only U.S. company that had an invention that received this award.
So to this day, you cannot find, I'm a little bit louder than him, a road that is being, a water line that's being replaced without the asphalt zipper. It completely took over the market. Now this next machine we built, we were going after a much bigger market. It's $1.5 billion a year in road smoothing. It's an all-in-one, fully automated machine that smooths both asphalt and concrete roads. It's up and running. This is the first season, and it's already proven to be a lot more accurate and leave a better surface than any of the competition. That was designed to be twice as wide and move forward twice as fast. Now, when our expenses are lower and we're that much faster, as depicted here, our profit margins are enormous. For example, we placed a bid, we won a bid for $400,000. It takes us about 20, 30 days to complete, and of that, $300,000 is a profit. So it's awesome. Okay, now this next machine that we're going for, it's competing with patching. This is the current process. You have one machine, you saw cut, then you have another machine to haul it away or to dig it up, then you put it in a dump truck and haul it away. Now, after you spend all that time and money, the only thing you've accomplished is now you have a hole in the road. You still have to bring the new material there, pave it down or lay it down, and then amazingly enough, in 2018, we have guys with shovels that are still leveling it. It's kind of funny. So we've designed all-in-one recycling machine to do exactly that, okay? It's fully automated and will eliminate all those processes that I just spoke about with a push of a button.
an inventor that can't find the button on the microphone. So I told you that the machine was actually quite simple. There's heat, it's enclosed, and we're raking the asphalt as we're heating it. It mixes new rock and oil at the same time, brings it to this area, and lays it down all in the same machine. Now, because we're adding new rock and oil, we can bump up the oil content, and we can make a better quality pavement than what is being laid now.
So here's an example of a road that you guys have seen, and you'll pass another 1,000 on your way home. As you hit every bump, you're going to be thinking of us, okay? Now, with our machine, that's what it's designed for, 1 meter wide. Now, we're using the same technology, except for at a much bigger scale. We're designing 2 machines. The other one's 12.5 feet to recycle the entire roadway at one time. Okay, between those 2 machines, it's a $50 billion market per year.
1 minute.
Right here is the drawing of that bigger machine. Now, right now, 15% of old pavement is recycled into new pavement. Our machine will do 100% efficiency on recycling. Okay, that's going to allow us to, once again, cut the cost into 1/3 of what they were paying before and allow us to completely take over the market once again. So we're here today asking for $5.5 million to fund this. Now, we all have roads that we drive on every day that need to be improved. The only way to improve those roads is to triple what we pay in taxes every year or recycle our asphalt. Help us change the world by recycling our asphalt. Thank you.
All right. Judges, Garrett will walk around with the microphone to hand to you. Just let him know if you have a question. And we will start the 5 minutes now.
What's your use of the 5.5 million, and who's your competition?
The competition is the old method, which is mill the road out, haul it away, recycle 15%, bring it all back and repave it, because that's what's being done. So we can recycle for about 1/3 that cost. About $1.5 million will be to build the smaller machine, and about $2.5 million to build a larger machine. And then we've got money in there to start with sales, promotions. We like to talk to the states and the counties and the cities and pre-sell. And so it would actually create everything needed to take it into a working machine.
Thanks.
Are there any prototypes, and how long would it take you to sort of get to build enough units to get to, let's say, a break even?
There are not prototypes. Now, our smaller machine has been completely drawn. The larger machine, we're working on it now. So the smaller machine, we could build and have it finished in a year's time. The larger machine, it would take us about 2 years from now. What was the second half of your question?
How many units would you have to sell to get to a break even as a company?
1. Well, we're not going to sell it. We're going to use it. So the very first job, like the machine that we are just finishing, our very first job, not only do we break even, but we make a tremendous profit.
In year 1.
Year 1, yep. As soon as it's done, start making money.
Any other questions from the judges?
So currently, what is your burn rate, and how much money do you have in the bank?
We have about 120,000. We have $600,000 worth of jobs backlogged for machine number 2, and we're burning about 40,000 a month.
All right, judges, last call for questions. Anybody? Okay, great. Give it up for Diamond Road. All right, please help me welcome our next competitor, Photorhythm.
I can figure this out.
All right, thank you. Just by show of hands, how many parents do we have in the room? Okay, now keep your hands up if at any point during the night you check to see if your newborn was still breathing. Okay, virtually almost all the hands stayed up. My name is Nate Rubin. I'm the CEO of Photorhythm Inc., and we have designed a video baby monitor which is able to monitor a baby's breathing without touching the skin. This started 5 years ago when my son was born. He was premature. We took him home from the NICU where we were, how do I click forward on this thing? Oh, I need that, thank you. As I was introduced into this world, okay, wires, cables, pulse oximeters, apnea monitors. It was sad to see him in that state. Even worse to take him home because we were worried for his life. SIDS is a very, it's a terrifying thing for a parent. And as an electrical engineering student at the time, I knew there had to be another way to do this. So 5 years in the making, my partner and I designed SmartBeat, the video baby monitor with non-contact breath detection. And SmartBeat uses a patented algorithm with pixel level processing, which is able to see variations in breath that our eyes can't even see. We can see breath rate, we can see individual breaths, and using an Android and iOS app, we're actually able to alarm the parents if an apnea event were to occur, if the breathing ceased or if it decreased dramatically. And as I start talking about this, you can see the wheels start to turn. You can start to think there's got to be other applications for this. Infant monitoring is a $1.1 billion market in the US alone. Now, adjacent to that, geriatrics is almost 100 times larger. And next to that is also medical devices. And these are all fields that we're planning on moving into in the near future once we get our first launch in the coming months here. So, some competition. I call these the wearables. In just the last couple of years, particularly in baby, you have these devices that attach to the subject measuring vitals. Now, there's a couple problems with these. They're inconvenient. You have to put them on, take them off. There's a lot of user error. And because of that, you have these really high false alarm rates. And that's a terrible user experience, to say the least. So when we began beta testing 6 months ago, we made a lot of progress, a lot of progress in those first few months, just technical details and things. And now we're at the point where we have user testimonials saying SmartBeat is giving them the peace of mind. They're having a lot fewer false alarms than even our competitors can say. So this monitor actually retails for $250 with an optional $5 a month subscription for sleep analysis. We're already selling online. We are opening up on Amazon. We have discussions right now with brick and mortar that does not rhyme with RUS, and we have a really strong manufacturing chain, one of the best that's been shipping millions and millions of cameras worldwide. They want to work with us and our product, and make it scale worldwide. I'll talk about why that's important in a sec. Now, we're involved in a lot of other things to further how we grow into these medical markets. Most importantly is that 510K with the FDA, along with licensing with medical device manufacturers. Now, our team, Jake and I, are the founders here, technical geeks, and we invented SmartBeat. Jen Skookie is our content manager, and Aaron Wagner is our sassy marketer who's pushing our brand and pushing our name. Now, we have a really impressive board of advisors. They're not on this list here, but we have Dawn Knassel and Amanda.
1 minute.
Amanda Braveheart. They're actually they have 40 plus years of experience in juvenile products, particularly with marketing or with monitoring. Now, we have over 60% margins. This shows 60%, but we're actually, we manufacture cost of goods sold $45. Projected to earn a total of $9 million this year alone. We're funded through a private equity firm. Also, USTAR gave us a TAP grant to forward our projects. And we're actually looking for strategic partnerships and how we can move our product forward in the medical devices and other realms. Launching later, again, in just 2 months, we'll be launching the monitor that actually delivers peace of mind to parents and safety for infants, because after all, if you could monitor your baby's breathing, wouldn't you sleep like a baby too? Thanks so much for having me. I'm ready for questions.
I'm interested in the monthly platform. Tell me a little bit more about that and opportunities in increasing your subscription service.
Yeah, great question. From a business perspective, the subscriptions are a big deal to us because that's recurring revenue and that's like the elixir for any business. Sleep analytics is something that parents, a lot of our beta testers we surveyed and they say, heck, I'd pay $10 a month just to have kind of that overall data of their average breathing as seen over time. And so we've been showing this to parents, and one of the useful things about it is they never have something to like bring into a pediatrician and say like, hey, this happened at this time. And that's what we actually can give them is a rolling window of time that they'd be able to see what happened during the night. And we can detect things with like REM sleeps, like what kind of quality of sleep are they getting? Why is my 18-month-old so cranky all the time? Like, there's some answers to be found through the sleep analytics. Did I answer your question? Okay.
So you mentioned you're on a 9 million run rate this year in revenue. Is
Yep.
that right? So what did you do in 16 or excuse me 17?
0. No, we actually made a few thousand. We actually have a. That's when we began our beta test. So every beta tester actually purchased a unit. So we probably made about 0 is not the number you want to say, but that's about like 10,000. It's not.
And how are you doing so far this year in the first few months?
Well, so our launch begins in May. Now I know 9 million sounds like a lot to get done in a 7-month period of time. We do have channel partners. Like I said, they don't rhyme with RS, and I can't tell you the names, but these are that's how we're actually moving the product into hands. So
on the manufacturing side, have you got the ability to scale quickly? Because getting at your price point, hitting 9 million in revenue, you're going to have to scale pretty quickly.
yes, and that's the strength of the manufacturing. So our contract with them, we pay. That's why we show 60% in terms of the gross revenue that we have, because we actually pay. They are managing all inventory, and they know inventory. They've been selling on platforms like Amazon for years, and so they'll increase markup just to handle inventory for us, so that we can scale as rapidly as we have to. So again, projections show by the end of 2018, about 7,000 units sold a month, and that is a very realistic number.
Thank you.
Any other questions, judges?
Where are you with your FDA approval, and how do you manage your liability?
Oh, that's a great question. So we actually used our competitor's model, Owlet, for this very thing. In fact, we've interviewed former employees to understand. So FDA is a process, and we haven't even gotten through with IRB approval yet, but we have found a predicate device, which we're going to use to push that 510K. Doesn't necessarily have to be expensive, but it does take some time. However, that does not mean you can't sell a consumer device. So that's using the same labeling and the same recommendations that their product liability agents, their insurers gave them. That's the roadmap we're going to use. In other words, it says we're not a medical device. We deliver peace of mind to parents, which is ultimately the same message that Owlet and others have used, and it's worked.
1 minute.
Yeah, so what kind of, again, how many units do you have to sell? And what's a kind of a 2-year, 3-year forecast for this kind of a business? And what proportion of revenue do you expect the subscription to be, let's say 3 or 4 years down the road of total revenue?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wish I had a magic ball to tell you. The subscriptions is something we can see increasing, particularly once we move into like elder care, which is a more service-oriented business, where we actually make sure that mom and dad are okay, and it's an entirely different model that we're anticipating in the coming year or so to start moving into. But the direct sales are going to be that's going to make the most revenue. I don't anticipate subscriptions to take that over in any time very soon. So I'm not sure if that answered your question. That's a good question, and that's kind of how we forecast things. Okay,
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Photorhythm. Please help me welcome to the stage our next competitor, POLYPROTechnologies.
Good afternoon. I'm Derek Arnold, and I'm the founder of POLYPROTECTechnologies. And all of us, let's see here if we can go. There we go. All right. All of our food that we consume needs to be sanitized. And as you can see here, in the past year, 48 million reported illnesses in the US alone due to foodborne pathogens, which indicates that our sanitizing system or methods are not adequate. Current systems are aqueous processes where they clean the equipment, they put an aqueous sanitizer on there, and then after it dries, that's the only time that it can kill. Once it's dried, any new product that comes on there, if there's any contamination that falls on there or anything that comes with the product down the line, is there, and it's going to get to the consumer. And so POLYPROTECTechnologies has developed an antimicrobial coating that is permanent, and so we can apply it to the equipment. We can apply it to the conveyor belts, to any of the equipment that's being used to manufacture any of the food. Our competitors are, like I just stated, the chemical companies. And then there's one that's kind of unique like us. It's called Cuvero. And they also apply a metal antimicrobial property to surfaces. But they can only apply it to metal. They cannot apply it to anything. I can apply it to a conveyor belt. I can apply it to the carpet, to the walls. So I can apply it to, well, we're trying to figure out what we can't apply it to right now. Our process is patented, and we use a equipment called cold spray to apply the copper to the substrate that we're wanting to coat. And so we're able to apply it to various items. We've done lab testing through a third-party lab, Silicur Labs. And what we've done there is we supplied them coupons with our coating on it, and they tested it against stainless steel, which is a common material used in the food industry. And then they inoculate it with microbials. They grow them, and then they pull them out at certain rates to see what the kill rate is. And so we've been able to test it and prove that our material is able to kill the microbials. Our team is really important, especially for this product, because the product can be used in multiple markets. And so my background is in the food industry, but Brad's background is in the medical device industry. Rob's background is in the healthcare, and the shipping industry is also the other key background that we have. And so we've built this team in order for us to expand and grow later on. Right now we're just focusing on the food market, but we know once we get traction going, we'll be able to, we have the people in place to expand out and offer our product to other markets. Right now we're currently working with Post through Mom Brands, which used to be Multimill. And we're working with Dr. Fred Cook. We're currently applying our product in their facility to non-food contact surfaces. And so we apply it to drains,
1
those
minute.
types of things. And then we'll do a report and we'll submit it to the food industry, and we'll share it because they have a thing where they want to share all the food safety with all the food industry. So with that, we need to go to the EPA and test to get the food contact surface, which will take about a year. And we've already been in discussion with them and have it identified what all we need to do. And so that's our next item that we need to do. The food market globally is predicted to be 3.03 trillion by 2020. If we can capture 1%, that's $30 billion. Our traction is that we can go into a location, apply it to new customers, but as it wears, we can reapply it. And so we'll have continued new customers and our old existing customers. And so we're looking to apply the...
Time.
Okay. Thank you.
So with so much market potential and so many different arenas you could go, you're focusing on the food market, but how exactly are you marketing this and to whom? Is it big food manufacturers, or I didn't see a marketing strategy to kind of scale the way you're intending to?
So we're marketing to the food manufacturers, but that will probably, well, the way we see it is as they purchase equipment from the people that make the equipment, they're going to say, well, we want this coating, and they're going to send them to us to apply it, and we are looking at, as that grows, to license our patent with that firm and provide them the equipment so that they can apply it at their facility while they make it, which is a much easier way of doing it. Any other questions? Yes.
Can you talk to me about the price difference for your market, and why would your customers prefer buying your product? I mean, what's the price difference there, and what can you guarantee them, as far as, ease of mind or an offering to them, in the food industry, you want to be more safe, but what are you offering them price-wise, the difference between your product and stainless steel? Excellent question. So our price of our product is $12 a square foot, so it's a lot higher than the chemical sanitizers. What we do promise them is that they have constant protection, but the biggest thing that they can benefit from is, as you're processing, you can only process for a certain amount of time, and then the microbials start to develop, and so you have to shut down and you have to clean everything, and then you re-sanitize and start all over again. So when I worked at Multimill, we would run for 18 days or maybe 20 days at the most, but then we'd have to shut down. With this, you have that constant protection on there. The microbials, it will not have the opportunity to build because they will be killed off. And so they'll be able to run extended times, which reduces the amount of shutdowns they have in a year. When I was at Multimill, one shutdown there, they had 3 different lines that were running at the time. That was $3 million. They get $1 million a day off of each line. That's huge to their bottom line. So they'll benefit from that. Plus, also when I was there, when they would wash the drains, we'd have everything clean. They'd just clean up the floor. They'd hit the drain would spray water. Well, you don't always see it because it's clear. It lands on a conveyor or piece of equipment that's already been sanitized and dry. Well, now it's contaminated again. We start running, we get all these listeria counts. We're like, what's going on? We research it out, find out that it's this. We can apply this to the drains themselves so that it's killed in there. So regardless of what you're doing, you've got that protection there as well. And then we can apply it to the walls. We can apply it to non-GMP areas where they transition into GMP areas. And we can help them keep their product safe, plus make some profit for them as well.
So is the product meant to sort of make it easier to wash off and clean the conveyor belt, or is it actually sort of eliminate the presence of listeria or any contaminants on the...
So you'll still have to clean it. It will kill the microorganisms, but the remains of the organism is still there. So it just won't be able to go into you and hurt you. It's dead, right? But yeah, you'll still have to clean your equipment. You just won't have to, you'll have that constant sanitization the whole time. And, so we're just providing that constant protection instead of just the initial protection at the beginning. Yeah.
What's your use of the $1 million, and do you have any sales right now?
Okay, right now, we're just testing with Multimill to verify that,
1 minute.
that it does everything that they want in their facility. And so once we're done with that testing, which should be around 4 months, then they want to put that in all of their non-food contact surfaces. And then once the EPA approves our product, then they'll want to coat all of their food contact surfaces. How long for the EPA approval? It's about a year, but copper's already approved by the EPA, so we think it'll be a lot less than that. And then, what was the other question?
Use of your $1 million.
Oh, so it'll be part of the testing for the EPA, and then once that the test at Multimill is done in the 4 months, then we're going to use it to produce the product that they need in their facility. Right now, we're just renting the equipment. Once the EPA is approved, we're going to have to go a lot bigger, and so we'll have to go back and get some more funding for purchasing all the equipment, because they have both equipment that we can do in-house. They can send us a conveyor belt, but we also have equipment that we can take there and we can coat their floor, and we can coat those areas that, obviously they can't send to me.
Time.
Thank you.
All right, please help me welcome to the stage our next competitor, Temp Sumo, or now Work Sumo.
Work Sumo. Does this work? Can you guys hear me? Sweet. All right. My name is Techie, and I'm representing Work Sumo. And I'm so nervous right now. I'm having a moment of vulnerability right now. So I'm going to ask you guys for your help. Is that okay? Can you guys, stand up real quick and just follow my lead? Even the judges, stand up real quick and shake your hands. Let's get your hands like this. Follow my lead. Put your one hand up like this. Match it with your next hand. Bow down your head. Please pray that I do a good job. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And so I want you to turn your attention to this picture back here, because this is our user base. These are the people and the reason why we created Work Sumo. I used to be one of those workers working in the factory lines and wondering, how do I get to a better place in life? And I came home from a 2-year volunteer mission in the Philippines, and I came home without any work experience. I didn't have any previous job experience, so first thing I had to do coming home was find a job. And I went to job boards, and a couple of days passed by, no responses for any of my applicants. I had no experience. And then my sister one day said, "Hey, Techie, come with me." And she took me to a back alley in this little plain office in the manufacturing district of West Valley. And inside was a temp agency. I had never heard of them. And so going through them, I got a job the next day, and it was awesome. I felt like I'm moving on with my life. But then I learned the real problem with this is it's almost exploitive. You go to a temp agency, you're a captive worker. You're not really the worker of these employers that you go to work. There's a minimum set of hours before you can get hired on directly that the agencies put on for these workers. And I thought about this issue. It's like, what can we do about it? Why do we have to go through a third party? Why is finding an entry-level job so hard nowadays when it shouldn't be? And so that's when I called my partner. I told him about this really cool idea. I was like, Zach, he's a student here at USC. I was like, we should make an app that connects people to work right away, and this is going to be so awesome. And that's what we did. We created an on-demand employment app. It's a marketplace for workers to go to work on demand. It's better than going to a job board and waiting for your response and wondering why you weren't chosen. And it's better than going to an agency and having that person kicked out of the picture. And so this is how it looks today. Employer will go on the app, he'll add a job and post a job, just like a job board, and puts the requirements on there, create that job. And then what he sees once he creates it, he sees people who are available in real time. Because one of the big issues while working these top jobs was I see the managers so frustrated with the agencies. They didn't know who was coming in. They didn't know the quality of the workers that was coming in, and they had no idea. But now employers have power. They know who this person is. They have a good job description, even a work rating for previous jobs experience that this worker has. And then the employer sends that request. The employee gets the request, and he sees it. If he likes it, it's a good job, pays well. He accepts it, and he goes to work. It's that easy. So our whole goal is really to take this market. It's very huge. The staffing industry is a $131 billion industry, and it's been the same for the past 30 years. Same thing with Jobs Board. Jobs Board has been the same thing for the past 18 years. Nothing changed much. And so we take this market that's already huge, and the big idea is to expand it. There's a lot of Uber drivers who would never drive in a taxi. A lot of people who would go out and travel who would never really, go out and buy a hotel because of the cost. And so our big idea is expand this market. A lot of workers who would never go through a staffing agency or have a hard time doing a job board that will never go through a staffing agency. So that's the big thing is what we're doing here. And the business model is very simple. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel or confuse our employers. We've taken what the staffing industry had done successfully for the past 30 years and just priced out a market rate for each hour workers work through our platform. And that's very competitive. We're between 35–40% markup rate, and that's really what the industry market is at right now. And as we look at the market, and we saw that we weren't the first one to come up with this on-demand marketplace.
1 minute.
And we weren't the only players, but the biggest difference is we're not doing shift-based jobs. We're doing long-term placement, people who can work and go to work right away. And so this is just milestones. If we hit some of these metrics, remember, there's 3 million people working through staffing agencies. 10,000 nationwide will reach us about $23 million revenue. And this is our traction so far, $20K in funding. We've been able to sign big companies like Dime Rental, New Skin, and Brahma Group to use the platform for this summer. And the economic impact is very huge. We saw some of the data behind these workers using the platform, and they were taken from homelessness to a job and $9 to $12 an hour jobs. And this is the big idea, the labor shortage. What do we do with this big labor gap of unskilled workers and skilled labor? These jobs are going to go away someday. Where do these people go? They go to these industry, the medical staffing, the medical technology and skilled labor. They're retiring and they need to be replaced. So what we do, we create that platform that creates a direct connection to these career paths using WorkSumo.
Time.
And this is us. So thank you so much.
Judges, any questions?
How do you get paid?
It's the business model. We add a markup that we charge to employers for all the workers that work through our platform.
Okay, and what kind of markup, what kind of margin?
It's generally about 35–40%, between that range.
Got it.
Are you just in test phase now?
So we tested this last winter and it worked. And so now we're prepping for summer when our demand increases between our bigger clients like New Skin, Dime Rental, and Brahma Group, who will be testing it through us.
There's an app on the App Store.
Oh, Zach, get up here. Yeah.
Any other questions? Sorry.
You gonna have a Samsung version of the app? I guess so it's on iPhone only.
No.
Yeah, iOS, Android, and look out for a web app actually in the next couple weeks. So. Oh, thanks. Anything else?
How would you use the capital?
It's to really bridge us over to when demand increases. And so, when we have a couple hundred people that's going to use us during the summer, we need to have a back-end support system in place to process these workers and going to work.
Yep. As well as kind of making the technology a little bit more bulletproof per se. So, yeah, continued development, operational runway. So.
All right, any final questions from the judges? Okay, great. Thank you, Temp Sumo.
Sorry.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Halson Vanderslice, and I'm the founder of Y-Waves. We're a revolutionary company that's focused on innovation with our proprietary wireless chargers, and we've actually created long-distance wireless charging. So the problem we see here with wireless chargers today, with the modern ones, is they're not actually wireless. You actually have to put your phone onto the pad, and the coils have to be aligned perfectly for it to actually do anything. Then you have to look down on your phone bird's eye view, and that's just not fun at all. Another thing is innovation has ceased. The first time we saw wireless charging pads in the modern way was 2012, and they ever made the same exact way. Another thing, too, is the brand with everything. Apple, all these big Samsung, Belkin, they're trying to raise the price of wireless chargers, even though they are the same do-it-yourself kits they could buy off of Amazon for $2. So we actually noticed here at CES for 2018 that wireless charging was dominating the floor. And so we actually feel extremely confident in getting our wireless chargers out there because little do you guys know, it was only the wireless charging pads that were at CES. So our wireless chargers are the blue ones. They're currently 20 times thinner and the only flexible wireless chargers on the market to date. You can actually, because of our coil design, which is proprietary, put your phone anywhere on the pad and it'll start charging. So we have 3 different applications for it. We have the Snowsea Smart Jacket. So this was actually to prove our validation, and we put a wireless charger embedded inside of the jacket so you could put your phone inside of your pocket and start charging immediately. Next one is our wireless charging pad, because we still do want to make them, and we decided to make ours look very homey. We wanted it to be, just placed in a modern, nice home, and we wanted the price point to be exact where everyone can buy one, not just a $200 Apple one. Now our big one is the capsule version 1. This one has the same exact fundamental coils with our other chargers that you just saw, except this one can charge up to 5 phones with fast charging speed at 10 feet. So currently, this is actually the case for it's actually being designed, and right now our engineers have the actual full product for Q&A right now to make sure that everything's safe, and it will be submitted with the FCC. Next one is our capsule RF. This one's using radio frequency waves, and we projected it to actually go 15 feet, but our engineers tested it at 20 feet. So for this, it uses a 2.45 gigahertz channel, and it could charge not only your phones, but other devices as well. And we're actually building the receivers to put in a lot of other devices. So we want to eliminate outlets. So currently, we want to launch our absolute deadline for the version 1 is launching in mid-August, with the radio frequency launching late September, so we can generate enough revenue to take it to CES and give everyone real wireless charging. So currently, we've sold $7,000 of the Snowsea Smart Jacket. We had a Kickstarter that failed because I'm not a marketer. And on top of that, actually, we got emails from the people that did back us, and we sold it to them because they were ready. We've had an $800 a month burn rate that's going straight towards engineering, and we've had $8,500 to sustain ourselves so far, just from winning small competitions, 5,000 of which has been made for these 4 products. So there are 40 plus million phones from Apple and Samsung that have QI enabled capabilities inside of them, so they can use wireless charging. And there's a 32% market growth by 2020, which brings the market up to $22 billion. So we're looking for $200,000. We want to throw $30,000 of that into marketing so we can find our ideal mobile target market, as well as save some for when we do actually launch. We want to put $70,000 for research and development, and I know it might not seem like that is that much for it, but we've done all of this with just $5,000. And most importantly, we want to continue scaling our team, because our most important asset is our employees, and we want to find people who are good at enriching other people's lives as well as escaping your own comfort zone. So currently there are 2 people on the leadership board. It's myself and my co-founder. I don't want to call him CFO because he actually just does our finances, and it's not that important to really give up such a high-end position off the bat. So we have filed our first utility patent, actually, and we do have a lot more to come since we're staying focused on being extremely novel. Along with that, we do have 2 full-time engineers. We have one who specializes in straight in induction with the coils, and then one who does straight radio frequencies. And we are going to be the very first company to go to market with full room wireless charging.
Questions from the judges?
Who's your main competition?
So currently right now, the big one is WattUp. Their actual company name's Anorgus or something like that. Sounds like an elephant. And they've been in talks for many, many years. And the reason they have not gone to market yet that we think is they're actually working secretly with another company, or it's because they're trying to generate so many patents before they actually do take it to market. But they've missed a few different deadlines, and that's our biggest competition right now.
Can you talk to me about your patent and what that covers?
Yeah, of course. So we actually have, it's with the blue charger up here. I'll get to it eventually. Right there. So it covers mainly with the coils with it. We actually use microstrip technology instead of the standard coils that are used on the QI charger here. And that also covers different components too, and then the way that the long distance charger actually functions with the correct layering and all of that stuff. It's 32-page patent, so I mean, I could just.
Any other questions from the judges? All right, give it up for Y-Waves. Y-Waves. All right, with Y-Waves being over, that concludes our showcase, and now Chris has a few more announcements, so I'm going to turn the time over to him.
Again, join me in thanking Y-Waves, Temp Sumo, Diamond Road, Photorhythm, and POLYPROTECTechnologies for their phenomenal pitches today. As we make the final tally of the judges voting, I'd like to take care of just a few things. One is to recognize a few people that have made Huntsman Venture Forum possible. First is our founding sponsors. And if representatives from these organizations would come up to the front, we have a small plaque for them. Jose Blanco, CVF Capital Partners, just if you wouldn't mind just coming up. George Daines, or a representative from Cache Valley Bank, they would come up. John Adams, Cook Martin Polson, Terry Grant, Key Bank, or someone representing Key Bank, they would come up. Jeff Steed, Curtin McConkey, or a representative from Curtin McConkey. Blake Dursteller, Center for Growth and Opportunity, or somebody from them. Scott Davis, Mountain West Small Business Finance. And Fraser Roy from Workman Nidegger, or a representative from their organization. So again, please join us in thanking these organizations. They made significant financial contributions as well as human capital contributions to help us organize the Venture Forum. Thank you very much. In addition to our founding sponsors, we've had many community sponsors that have been so supportive of helping Huntsman Venture Forum staff, and these include our community sponsors. And they include EDC Utah, Cache Chamber, U-Star, Small Business Development Center of Logan, Draper Chamber, Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses, the Clark Center for Entrepreneurship, Nibley Chamber, Southwest Valley Chamber, Sandy Chamber, West Jordan Chamber, and the John M. Huntsman School of Business. Thank you so much for helping us make this extraordinary event possible. Please join me in thanking them. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, even though they were recognized earlier, I'd like to recognize the Partners in Business team. As many of you know, this event was put on by a group of extraordinary students that we call our managing directors of Partners in Business. I have the honor of being the mentor and advisor to that extraordinary group of young men and young women. I'd like to just introduce each of them to you so you can appreciate who they are and the effort that has gone.